Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. Thank you for joining me for this video. And the Las Vegas Raiders are signing veteran tight end Alex Ellis per source. And so this signing right here is going to bring some more depth to the Raiders, in which they have a lot of tight ends already currently on the roster. I mean, it all starts with Darren Waller. He's a game changer on the offense, perhaps the best weapon that they have aside from perhaps Josh Jacobs. Just depends on how you view that. But he certainly is one of the tight ends that is changing the way that you view the tight end position. And he certainly has games where he takes over. And so we all know what he can do. But outside of him, they have guys like Foster Maru, Derek Carrier, Nick Bowers, Matt Bushman, and Carson Williams currently on the roster competing for spots. And so they're adding Alex Ellis to the mix. And so we're going to look and see what he can do and what type of value he might bring to an offense that last year it was about average. And for the price that they're charging their fans this year to go to that brand new stadium down there in Las Vegas, they obviously are going to want to show some excitement out there. And so they're going to need the offense to be better than average. They're going to need the offense to be great at the minimum this upcoming season to back up, verifying basically why they are charging those high prices, because they want to create a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz. John Gruden was given that decade-long contract, and he's yet to produce, honestly. And so it feels like this is a year in which they really want to make sure that things happen, and he starts getting some positive traction and perhaps get the Raiders in the playoffs, which would be no easy task with the Chiefs and Chargers in that division, and not to mention what the Broncos have on the defensive side of the ball. And if they do get Aaron Rodgers, it would be even more scarier. But all that aside, though, the Raiders, they do currently have pieces like Henry Ruggs III. We'll see what he does. If Henry Ruggs can just look like he did for Alabama, that would be a huge boost. I believe Derek Carr can be, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but he needs to have a top weapon. He's not going to make, like average guys look great. He needs a great guy. So certainly the more weapons you can give him, the better. They've made some changes on the offensive line as well, a couple of trades, and we'll see how it all works out. Richie Incognito, he's going to be the guy to help in terms of being a veteran. He wants to take more of a leadership type role, and we'll see how that plays out for him, honestly, moving forward. But it does help to have a back like Josh Jacobs in the backfield. But all that being said about Alex Ellis, he's a 6'4", about 250 pounds, so he certainly has some size to him. Throughout his time in the league, going back to 2016, his stunt with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he actually suited up for 6 games, got in. He got to start 3 games, and he's been only targeted 3 times. He has 3 receptions out of 4 targets for 11 yards, and that's averaging about 3.7 yards a catch. And that all happened in 2016. He would spend 2018 with the Kansas City Chiefs and appear and will actually suit up for 2 games. And in 2019, with the Philadelphia Eagles, he would suit up for 3 games as well. But both of those stunts with the Eagles and the Chiefs, they did not target him. And so he seems like to be more of a primary use for blocking. Throughout his time at the University of Tennessee, or even before that, if we just look at some of the personal stuff for him, his major was biomedical engineering, so pretty good major there. In high school, he played football and lacrosse in the state of Delaware. And let's see, as a freshman and a sophomore, he basically did not get to play in any games. They actually redshirted him as a sophomore in 2013. And so it would be in 2014 as a redshirt junior that he would actually get to start and he would play 13 games, I believe, and start 1. He had 6 catches for 115 yards with at least 1 in 5 games from the span of October 19th to November 22nd. Caught his first college touchdown on a 31-yard pass from holder Patrick Ashford on a fake field goal against number 19 Missouri. So how about that? And I can honestly see why that would work. Honestly, at that point, he had not proven that he had any hands. There was no reason for them to, be aware of him at all. And so just a great call, I would imagine, by the special teams coordinator to get him that pass there and get his first touchdown. In his first start, he had 2 catches for 26 yards in the win over Kentucky. Third catch came for 24 yards at South Carolina, and his second catch for 25 yards versus number 4 Alabama, and first catch of his career for 9 yards at Ole Miss. And so, he recovered an onside kick in the fourth quarter versus Arkansas State. So that's interesting there. Recovered an onside kick, and 1 of 32 to make Tennessee's debate versus Utah State, according to Tennessee's website here. And fourth year in the program, did not play in a game until 2014, battling injuries for most of 2013. So perhaps that had a lot to do with his red shirt, with the fact that he was battling injuries. So they just decided, go ahead, let's just redshirt him that year. So that would make more sense as to why he was redshirted that year. And then as a senior, he got to start, well, he got to play in 13 games, but I don't think he got to start any games that year. But as a redshirt senior, um, was a member of the player staff in 2015. But he got to play in all 13 games as the reserve tight end in 2015, making 8 catches for 117 yards. And his first catch of 2015 came for 2 yards versus Western Carolina. He earned a scholarship in December 22nd of 2014 prior to the Vols trip to the Tax Slayer Bowl as a special Christmas present. So prior to that, that basically means he came on as a walk-on, and he was able to make the team, but he did not get a scholarship until around his redshirt junior year. So that's interesting as well, but glad that they finally awarded him with that scholarship, at that point for his effort and his time at the University of Tennessee. And so some of the things that they mentioned about him during his pro day at the University of Tennessee, according to Knoxville News, um, let's see, tight end Alex Ellis, he had the best broad jump at 101 and the best three-cone time at 6.77. His unofficial 40 time was a 4.58, if that's any indication of how fast he is, and would have placed him first among NFL tight end prospects at the combine, according to University of Tennessee. And he kind of knew going into it that he wasn't going to get drafted. And so he only hoped that he'd, get the same opportunity to walk on. And he's done pretty good for someone that, came to Tennessee, didn't have a scholarship, earned a scholarship, didn't get drafted, but has, done well. He's still in the league, and he's getting an opportunity here with the Raiders, and John Gruden, it makes sense why the Raiders would reach out for a tight end. I mean, they do have Greg Olson, as an offensive coordinator, and so that pretty much makes sense why they're looking to add, as many tight ends as possible. The more tight ends they have, the better. That would help the run game. That would help near the goal line. That would just give them some more size to work with. So they're really interested in, help in seeing, what guys like Alex Ellis can do. And obviously during this time of the year, this is the perfect time to evaluate as many tight ends as possible. It just goes to show how they really values the position right there. And last year, their defense wasn't that great. So they're going to need the offense to really, be able to carry this team in some games, honestly, and hope that the defense comes along at some point throughout the season. They're going to have their hands full this season. But, if it's going to happen, it's going to start with Derek Carr and the weapons that he have just continuing to evolve and taking that next step. But with all that being said, thank you so much for joining me for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, as more news continues to drop, you can be sure to find it here. So thanks again for watching, and see you guys next time.